Have you ever found yourself wondering why people seem to drift away from you, no matter how much you try to hold them close? Do you feel as though your relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, start strong but slowly fizzle out, leaving you questioning what went wrong? You've given your best effort, shown kindness, and even sacrificed your needs to meet theirs. So why does it feel like you're always the one left behind? The truth, though painful, might be this: it's not them, it's you. The habits you unknowingly cultivate are like tiny cracks in the foundation of your relationships. At first, they seem harmless or even invisible, but over time, they create a distance so vast that no amount of effort can bridge the gap. These habits aren't dramatic or overt. They're subtle, quiet saboteurs that erode trust, connection, and respect, little by little, until one day, the people you care about are no longer there. Let's ask ourselves, what if the key to stronger relationships isn't just more effort, but different effort? What if it's about recognizing and shedding habits that silently push others away? Today, we're uncovering 7 behaviors that might be harming your connections. These aren't just ideas pulled from thin air. They align deeply with Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches us to master our inner world to better navigate the external one. Each habit we discuss will challenge you to reflect, to ask hard questions of yourself, and to take bold, decisive action toward growth. And as we journey through these 7 points, the last one we'll reveal might be the hardest to confront, but also the most transformative. Let's dive into the first habit, one that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. 1. Emotional instability. Are your emotions steering the ship? Imagine this scenario. You're having a good day, feeling optimistic and full of energy. Then, something minor happens, an offhand comment, a delayed text, or an unexpected challenge, and your mood spirals. Suddenly, your good day turns sour, and the emotional storm within you rages out of control. Now imagine how exhausting it must be for those around you to witness this pendulum swing day after day. Are you unknowingly dragging them into your storm? Emotional instability, while often unintentional, creates an environment of unpredictability and tension. When your emotions shift drastically based on every external event, people begin to feel like they're walking on eggshells. No one wants to constantly wonder which version of you they'll encounter, the calm, rational you or the volatile, reactive one. Ask yourself, do your emotions control you, or do you control them? When you're upset, do you pause to reflect, or do you lash out and later regret it? Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional stability is not about suppressing feelings, it's about managing them with grace and discipline. Here's a hard truth. People are drawn to stability. They want to feel safe around you, to know that you can weather life's ups and downs without falling apart. When your emotional world is chaotic, you inadvertently signal to others that you lack control, not just over your feelings, but over your life. And while they may sympathize with your struggles, sympathy has a limit. Over time, they will seek refuge elsewhere. But how do you know if emotional instability is a problem for you? Consider these questions. Do you react impulsively when something doesn't go your way? Do you frequently apologize for outbursts or mood swings? Do you find that small inconveniences or disagreements ruin your entire day? If you answered yes, it's time to take a step back and reflect. Emotional instability often stems from externalizing control, letting outside events dictate your inner state. In Stoicism, we are reminded that we cannot control what happens, but we can always control our response to it. So how can you regain control over your emotions? First, pause. When something triggers you, resist the urge to react immediately. Take a moment to breathe and observe your feelings without judgment. Ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is this worth my peace of mind? Second, practice gratitude. Emotional storms often arise from focusing on what's wrong rather than appreciating what's right. Take time each day to acknowledge the good in your life. Gratitude shifts your focus from chaos to clarity, from dissatisfaction to contentment. Finally, seek perspective. Marcus Aurelius often meditated on the vastness of the universe and the brevity of life, reminding himself how insignificant most problems truly are. When you feel overwhelmed, ask, will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? Emotional mastery is not achieved overnight, but with practice it becomes second nature. And as you gain control over your emotions, you'll notice a shift in your relationships. People will feel more at ease around you, more willing to open up, and more eager to stay. But don't stop here. Emotional stability is just the beginning. There's another habit, equally insidious, that might be quietly alienating you from others. Let's uncover it together. 2. Taking everything personally. Are you carrying the weight of every word? Have you ever felt hurt or offended by a casual comment someone made, even when they likely didn't mean it that way? Have you walked away from a conversation replaying someone's words in your mind, wondering if they were criticizing you, even indirectly? Taking things personally is one of the fastest ways to damage your relationships. It creates tension, unnecessary drama, and ultimately distance between you and the people you care about. Now, let me ask you this. How much of your emotional energy is spent interpreting what others say or do as a reflection of your worth? Are you constantly reading between the lines, looking for hidden meanings? If the answer is yes, it's time to recognize that this habit isn't protecting you, it's pushing people away. Here's the truth. Most of what people say or do has little to do with you. People are living their own lives, carrying their own burdens and navigating their own struggles. When you assume every action or word is directed at you, you're placing yourself at the center of a story that isn't even about you. And this misunderstanding creates unnecessary conflict. Imagine your friend is unusually quiet one day. Instead of assuming they're upset with you, what if you considered that they might just be tired or preoccupied? Or consider when your partner offers constructive feedback. Rather than hearing criticism of your character, could you see it as an opportunity for growth? As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoic approach teaches us to separate our emotions from external triggers. When we stop taking things personally, we free ourselves from the constant need for validation and protect our inner peace. But why does taking things personally push people away? It's simple. When every word or action is turned into a perceived slight, it makes others feel like they're walking on eggshells. They begin to hesitate before speaking, fearing their words will be misunderstood or spark unnecessary conflict. Over time, this strain erodes trust and connection. People crave relationships where they feel safe to be themselves, not where every interaction is a potential minefield. So how can you break free from this exhausting habit? First, cultivate empathy. When someone says or does something that stings, pause and consider what might be going on in their life. Could they be having a bad day? Could their words reflect their own struggles, not a commentary on you? Shifting your focus from yourself to them can transform your perspective. Second, practice self-awareness. When you feel hurt, ask yourself, why does this bother me? Am I attaching unnecessary meaning to their words or actions? Often, the issue lies not in what was said, but in how you interpret it. Third, let go of the illusion of control. Remember that you cannot control how others behave, but you can control how you choose to respond. Taking things personally gives away your power. Releasing that habit allows you to reclaim it. Imagine a life where you no longer carry the weight of others' words. Instead of feeling burdened, you feel free to engage with people authentically, without the constant need to protect yourself from imagined slights. This shift not only strengthens your relationships, but also deepens your inner peace, a cornerstone of Stoicism. Now let's pause and reflect. Have you caught yourself taking things personally recently? If so, it's time to make a change. Write "I choose peace" in the comments below if you're ready to release this habit and embrace a calmer, more secure mindset. Your declaration could inspire someone else watching this video to take their own first step toward freedom. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to hit the like button and let others know that these insights are making a difference. When you engage, you're not just supporting this content, you're helping to spread Stoic wisdom to others who might need it. But we're not done yet. There's another habit, one that hides behind a smile and a joke, yet silently tells others they can't take you seriously? Let's explore it in the next section. 3. Non-serious behavior. Are you showing people that you're committed? Let's be honest, there's something appealing about being the carefree, easygoing person in the room. Someone who doesn't take life too seriously, who keeps things light and fun. But when this approach becomes a pattern in areas that require depth and commitment, it can start to push people away. I think about the relationships that matter most in your life. Do the people around you see you as someone who is genuinely invested in them, in your shared future, or even in your own personal growth? Or do they sometimes feel like you're coasting, brushing off important conversations, or avoiding the harder truths for the sake of comfort? Non-serious behavior sends a message, even if unintentionally, that you're not fully committed. This might not show up in grand gestures, but in the small ways you interact with others and with your own goals. For example, skipping serious discussions about the future with a partner, avoiding accountability at work, or failing to follow through on promises. Ask yourself, do I have a vision for where I'm going? Am I intentional in my relationships? Do my actions show others that I'm serious about the things that matter most? People are drawn to those who display purpose and integrity. When you approach life with seriousness, not the kind that kills joy, but the kind that shows you value yourself and others, your relationships deepen. On the other hand, if you treat life like one big joke or fail to demonstrate commitment, people may begin to doubt your reliability. Why does this happen? Because relationships at their core require trust. And trust is built when others see that you care, not just about them, but about your own growth and goals. When you're consistently non-serious, it creates doubt. People may start to wonder, can I count on them? Do they really mean what they say? Are they invested in this, or are they just passing through? Let me be clear. Being serious doesn't mean you have to be somber or rigid. Stoicism teaches us the value of balance. Marcus Aurelius himself lived a life of great responsibility while maintaining moments of reflection and calm. He urged us to waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This applies to how you show up in your life. Don't just say you're committed, live it. How can you shift from non-serious to intentional? Start with your own life. Are you pursuing your goals, or are you waiting for things to fall into place? Are you investing time and energy into becoming the best version of yourself, or are you letting life drift by? When you take your own growth seriously, others will naturally begin to take you seriously too. Follow through on your commitments. If you tell someone you'll do something, make it a priority. Actions speak louder than words, and consistency builds trust. Be present in important moments. When someone shares something meaningful with you, listen deeply. Don't deflect with humor or change the subject. Show them that you value their thoughts and emotions by engaging sincerely. Imagine someone in your life who has a clear sense of direction, who takes their commitments seriously, and who is deeply invested in the people around them. Isn't that someone you respect and want to be close to? Now, imagine becoming that person, not just for others, but for yourself. Taking life seriously in the right ways doesn't make it less enjoyable. In fact, it enhances the joy and fulfillment you find in your relationships and achievements. It shows others that you are someone worth building with, worth trusting, and worth keeping close. But there's another way we can push people away, one that's even more subtle but equally damaging. It's the habit of neglecting yourself in the name of being there for everyone else. Let's uncover it in the next section. 4. Neglecting time for yourself. Are you losing yourself in the process? At first glance, always being available for others may seem like a virtue. Sacrificing your time, energy, and needs to support those you care about can feel like the ultimate act of commitment. But what if, in giving so much, you lose the essence of what makes you you? What if neglecting your own needs isn't bringing you closer to others, but is instead pushing them away? Think about the relationships in your life. Are you always the one saying yes to plans, rearranging your schedule, or putting your own goals on hold to make others happy? While these sacrifices may feel like acts of love, they can signal to others that you don't value yourself enough to prioritize your own well-being. And if you don't value yourself, why should anyone else? Healthy relationships are built on balance, on the meeting of two whole, independent individuals who respect each other's boundaries and time. But when you consistently neglect your own needs, you create an imbalance that drains you and ultimately diminishes what you can offer to others. Over time, people might begin to see you as less dynamic, less interesting, or even less attractive. Why? Because a person who respects themselves enough to take time for their growth and passions is magnetic, while someone who's always available can come across as dependent or unfulfilled. Ask yourself, when was the last time I did something purely for myself? A hobby, a quiet moment of reflection, or a step toward a personal goal? If you can't remember, you may have fallen into the habit of constantly putting others first while neglecting the vital act of recharging your own energy. Stoicism reminds us of the importance of self-care as a means of cultivating strength and balance. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." By always giving your time away to others, you may unintentionally be wasting opportunities to invest in your personal growth and happiness. Neglecting yourself not only impacts you, but also the quality of your relationships. Imagine being in a relationship with someone who's constantly exhausted, who seems to have no hobbies or sense of individuality. Over time, this dynamic can lead to resentment or boredom, even if the other person doesn't consciously recognize it. People are drawn to those who are vibrant, evolving, and self-assured, not to those who have made themselves smaller for the sake of others. So how do you reclaim your time and in doing so strengthen your relationships? Set boundaries. Recognize when you need time to recharge and communicate that need clearly. Saying no doesn't mean you care less about someone. It means you're ensuring you can show up for them at your best. Reconnect with your passions, whether it's pursuing a hobby, learning something new, or simply enjoying a moment of solitude. Carving out time for yourself makes you a fuller, more dynamic person. Prioritize self-care. This could mean taking care of your physical health, dedicating time to mindfulness, or reflecting on your personal goals. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself is a prerequisite for taking care of others. By giving yourself the time and space to grow, you become someone worth missing. Absence, when balanced with presence, makes the heart grow fonder. When you create a life that's rich and fulfilling on its own, you bring a renewed energy and presence to your relationships that others can't help but be drawn to. But neglecting yourself is only one side of the coin. What happens when we let our emotions swing wildly, leaving others unsure of what to expect from us? Let's explore this in the next section. 5. Overthinking. Are you trapped in a cycle of endless doubt? Have you ever caught yourself replaying a conversation in your mind, analyzing every word, every tone, every pause? Or felt that sinking anxiety when someone doesn't text back as quickly as you expected? Overthinking, while it may seem like a harmless habit, is one of the most exhausting behaviors for both you and the people around you. It builds walls of doubt, mistrust, and insecurity, walls that often push others away. Consider this. What message are you sending when you overthink every interaction? To others, it can come across as mistrust, insecurity, or a lack of confidence in yourself and the relationship. Relationships thrive on a foundation of ease and connection. Overthinking disrupts this, turning simple moments into a mental chess match and draining the joy and spontaneity out of shared experiences. Ask yourself, how many times have I overanalyzed something small? A delayed text, a casual remark, a slight change in someone's tone. Did those thoughts help the relationship grow, or did they sow seeds of doubt and anxiety? When you're constantly second-guessing yourself and others, you're not living in the present. Instead, you're projecting fears about the future or regrets about the past onto your current interactions. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." If your thoughts are filled with worry and doubt, that energy inevitably seeps into your relationships. Overthinking sends a signal. I don't trust myself to let this unfold naturally, and that can make others feel stifled or on edge. Now, let's shift perspectives. Imagine being with someone who constantly questions your every move. They dissect every message, hesitate before every decision, and seek reassurance at every turn. Exhausting, right? The same is true when the roles are reversed. Overthinking not only drains your energy but also creates a tension that makes others pull back. So how do you stop this cycle and foster healthier, more fulfilling connections? First, let go of the need for control. Overthinking is often a response to uncertainty, but the truth is you can't control how others think or act. You can only control how you respond. Lao Tzu, a philosopher whose wisdom aligns closely with Stoicism, said, "If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." Shift your focus to what's real and tangible, rather than the what-ifs that only exist in your mind. Second, trust yourself. If you've shown up authentically and done your best, trust that it's enough. Constantly questioning whether you've said or done the right thing only erodes your confidence and complicates your relationships unnecessarily. Finally, embrace the present moment. When you stop overanalyzing and start engaging with what's right in front of you, you create a sense of ease and connection. Instead of worrying about how a conversation might be interpreted, focus on enjoying it. Instead of fearing a delayed text, trust that it's not a reflection of your worth. Breaking free from overthinking doesn't happen overnight, but every small step brings you closer to peace and clarity. Start by challenging your assumptions. Is there real evidence for this fear, or is it my mind creating a story? As you practice letting go, you'll notice your relationships becoming lighter, more natural, and more fulfilling. Now it's your turn to reflect. How often do you let overthinking take control? If this habit resonates with you, take a bold step toward change. Write "I trust myself" in the comments below to affirm your commitment to breaking free from this cycle. And if this message has struck a chord, don't forget to like this video. Your engagement helps others discover these lessons and find their own path to stronger relationships. But overthinking is just one piece of the puzzle. What about the habit of needing others to validate your worth? That's where we're heading next. Let's explore how to break free from this subtle yet powerful relationship killer. 6. Needing constant validation. Are you searching for worth in the wrong places? Imagine this. You're in a conversation with someone you care about, and you find yourself subtly fishing for compliments. Do you think I handled that well? Or was that good enough? Or perhaps you feel a nagging discomfort if they don't openly affirm their feelings for you. It might seem harmless, a natural way to seek connection, but this habit of needing constant validation can erode the very relationships you're trying to strengthen. When you consistently seek validation from others, you send an unintended message. I don't trust my own worth, so I need you to confirm it for me. Over time, this can become exhausting for those around you. Instead of enjoying the relationship, they might feel like they're walking a tightrope, always needing to say the right thing to reassure you. Why does this habit push people away? Relationships thrive when both individuals bring confidence and security to the table. When one person is constantly seeking approval, it creates an imbalance, placing an emotional burden on the other. Rather than fostering closeness, it introduces strain. Ask yourself, how often do you rely on others to tell you that you're good enough, smart enough, or loved enough? What would happen if you stopped seeking that reassurance and trusted in your own value instead? Stoicism offers profound guidance here. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Seeking validation is a reaction to an internal fear of not being enough. But that fear isn't rooted in truth. It's a narrative you've constructed. By shifting your focus inward and trusting yourself, you reclaim the power you've been handing over to others. The need for constant validation often stems from insecurity and fear of rejection. But the irony is that this very behavior can make others feel disconnected. Instead of showing up as a confident, whole person, you're showing up as someone who needs to be propped up. And while the people who care about you may want to help, their patience isn't infinite. How do you break free from this habit? Start by affirming yourself. Instead of looking outward for reassurance, practice self-validation. When you accomplish something, no matter how small, acknowledge it internally. Tell yourself that was enough, and believe it. Over time, this practice builds the foundation of self-confidence. Reframe your fears. When you feel the urge to seek validation, ask yourself what you're afraid of. Are you worried about being misunderstood, rejected, undervalued? Often these fears are rooted in past experiences rather than the current reality. Challenge these assumptions. Focus on giving rather than receiving. Instead of seeking reassurance from others, look for ways to affirm them. When you shift your attention outward in a healthy, supportive way, you stop fixating on your own insecurities. Paradoxically, this shift can help you feel more secure because it reinforces your role as a valuable, supportive presence in the lives of others. Imagine a version of yourself that no longer craves validation, a version of you that trusts in your worth no matter what others say or don't say. This kind of confidence doesn't just transform your relationships, it transforms how you navigate the world. You become someone who draws people in, not because you need them, but because they're drawn to your strength and self-assurance. But there's one more habit we need to discuss, one that subtly damages relationships by creating unnecessary tension and conflict. Let's explore how taking things personally might be quietly pushing people away. 7. Acting like a victim. Are you giving away your power? There's a story you tell yourself every time something goes wrong. Maybe it's subtle, an inner voice that says, "Why does this always happen to me?" Or maybe it's more overt, blaming others, circumstances, or even bad luck for the challenges in your life. At first, it might seem harmless, a way to cope with difficulty. But over time, acting like a victim becomes a habit, one that not only holds you back but also pushes people away. Why? Because victimhood is exhausting to those around you. When you see yourself as powerless, others feel the weight of that helplessness. Instead of building a connection of mutual support, you create a dynamic where others feel responsible for lifting you up. And let's be honest, no one wants to carry that burden forever. Ask yourself, do you often feel like life is unfair, like you're stuck in a pattern where things never go your way? Do you find it easier to blame others or external factors than to take responsibility for what you can control? If so, it's time to shift your perspective. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoic approach is clear. We can't control everything that happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. When we stop playing the victim, we reclaim that power and transform adversity into growth. Here's the truth about victimhood. It robs you of agency. It says, "I can't change my circumstances," when in reality, the most meaningful change always begins within. People are drawn to those who take responsibility for their lives, even in the face of difficulty. It shows resilience, strength, and courage, the traits that inspire trust and admiration. But let's not dismiss the difficulty of breaking this habit. Life is hard and setbacks are inevitable. It's natural to feel overwhelmed at times. However, when you consistently frame your struggles as something being done to you rather than something you can navigate, you remain stuck. How can you start breaking free from a victim mindset? First, own your role. When something goes wrong, resist the urge to blame others or external circumstances entirely. Instead, ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Even if the situation wasn't your fault, finding areas where you can grow or improve is empowering. Second, reframe challenges. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Every difficulty carries an opportunity for growth, even if it's not immediately obvious. When you shift your focus from suffering to growth, you regain control over your narrative. Third, cultivate gratitude. Victimhood often stems from focusing on what's wrong rather than appreciating what's right. Take time each day to reflect on what you're grateful for, no matter how small. Gratitude rewires your perspective, helping you see possibilities instead of obstacles. Imagine being in a relationship with someone who always sees themselves as the victim. Over time, their negativity becomes draining, their refusal to take responsibility frustrating, and their outlook limiting. Now, imagine the opposite. Being with someone who faces challenges with courage, who learns from setbacks, and who radiates resilience. Which person would you rather be around? When you stop acting like a victim, you not only transform your relationships, you transform your life. You show others that you're someone who can be trusted to face difficulty head-on, someone who inspires rather than drains, someone worth building a future with. These 7 habits: emotional instability, taking things personally, non-serious behavior, neglecting time for yourself, overthinking, needing constant validation, and acting like a victim, may seem small on their own. But together, they can create barriers that push people away and prevent you from forming deep, meaningful connections. The good news: every one of these habits can be replaced with actions rooted in self-awareness, responsibility, and growth. So where do you start? Begin by identifying one habit that resonates most with you. Reflect on how it has shown up in your relationships and take the first steps toward change. Remember, transformation doesn't happen all at once. It's the small, consistent choices that lead to lasting growth. If this message has inspired you, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. Drop a comment below with the habit you're committing to change, or simply write "I take control" as a declaration of your commitment to a better, stronger version of yourself. Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-discovery and growth. Together we can embrace the wisdom of Stoicism and create lives filled with stronger connections, deeper peace, and greater purpose. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.